Hello, welcome to Field2Donor, the number one reporting and project management software for nonprofits. This is how you log in into your account. First, you sign up. The top right, get early access. Once you sign up, you'll get an email with your login details. Then you can now sign in. I will now show you how to sign in into your account. This is a super admin account, which would be the head of the organization. Once you log in, you will find the simple prompt here that's optional. You can choose to close the prompt, but it guides you in terms of understanding where to start. So first is adding your donors. You add your donors here, the name, the contact information, the phone, the website, whichever information you have possible, and the type of funding. So whether it's a grant, it's self-funded, it's sponsorship, or it's a contract. Once you add the donors, next you create your project. So as you can see, there are no projects at the moment here because this is a new account. This is how it will look like for you as well when you first log in. So you'll create a new project, key in the project name, say the project is Peace for All, and then you can add the goal, promote peace. Of course, this is a sample and you can use your proposal to add all the relevant details. You can choose if it has not started or if it's active, and then you can add your results framework. So think of the way your proposal is, your approved proposal. Add the objectives, add the expected outcomes, and add the expected outputs. You'll then add the timeline, the budget. The platform is a multi-currency platform, so you can key in all of the major currencies as well as the total approved budget. You have the option of selecting a budget owner. In my case, I will select myself. And you also have the option to select a donor or a funder. So remember when you started, you created the donor list first. Once you've created the donor list, you should be able to select the donor here. You will then add your activity schedule. So this is your work plan. You'll add it according to dates and location as well. Then you will add your budget for that same project. You can add per budget line, again, according to your own approved budget. We have some set categories like program expenses, personnel, administrative, but you can also key in your own category. So it's very flexible. Then we have the expense threshold, which means that different organizations have a threshold to which certain expenses need to be approved and others don't need to approve. So you will set this threshold based on your organization policies. Finally, you will create the location if it's Nairobi, maybe if it's a youth empowerment project, you will select that. And as you can see, there's not much information that I've keyed in, but we can put in 100,000 just as an example for you to see what we mean with the project. So we'll key in some sample details here just to help us get started. Then you can create the project. Once you've created the project, it will automatically show in your dashboard. As you can see, the dashboard will show you if a project is active, if there's a budget, the total budget, if there's a donor, who is the donor, and even the budget used. So you can see here it tells us the budget is 100,000, but we have 16 days left to complete the project. So once you add the project, you can then assign users to this project. What do we mean by users? So there are different levels of authorization and access. The first level is a field staff or the project officer. This person in your organization will only access the project that they're in charge of, and they'll be able to log in activities, request expense, as well as submit expenses. At the second level, we have the reviewer, which is the program manager, and the finance, who will be able to review all requests for expenses as well as approve any expenses or activities that have been submitted. And the highest level is the administrator. In this account, as you can see, I am an administrator, so I have visibility over everything from the donor management form to the users, all the finances, all the details here. So you will assign based on who you want to see. And then, of course, we have the external, which is the donor view, which you could also share with your partners or the public. It's a link where your partners can see how much progress you're making. So this is the dashboard. This is how the dashboard would look like once you key in all your projects. Right now we have one project, we have the total budget, but if there were any pending approvals, you would be able to see them here. If there were any expenses submitted without receipts, you'd be able to see them here. If you were able to log in some activities. So let's say we log in an activity so that we can see how it looks like. So it was maybe it was a single day activity. The location was in Nairobi and the facilitator was me and it has been completed. What happened? The training went well. And then who are the participants? So how many male participants? Say 20, female maybe 30, other maybe 5. And also by age group. So maybe there were no children, there were 10 youths, and there were 45 adults. As you can see, the sum will always match up, and you can select who are the target groups. Was it NGOs, maybe government, and maybe community leaders? For you to be able to link your activity to your results tracker, remember as you're logging in the activity, up here you'll be prompted to select the project. So the project is Peace for All, right? So once you log in here, it will bring you the results tracker for Peace to All. At the moment, we didn't add any milestones, but you should be able to see that. Then you log in the qualitative results. Participants were empowered. Then, what were the related expenses to this? So as you can see, we didn't add any budget, so there isn't any budget line, but basically you'll be able to record expense per budget line. And then finally, you'll be able to upload evidence. This could be pictures from the event. You could also submit your activity report or narrative from the activity using a voice recording feature here. You could also upload a file as a PDF, or you could add it as a link. So we have all these options. The other thing is, once you've uploaded your evidence, you can choose whether you'd like some of these to appear in your reports by selecting this tag and marking it either as an achievement or as a risk or challenge. Once you do that, the activity is logged. So please complete all expense details or remove incomplete entries. So as you can see, you will not be able to proceed because each activity is definitely tied to an expense in a project. So there's no activity that has no expense, and there's no expense that's not linked to an activity or a cost that has been approved by the donor. So you see, you should be able to do that. Finally, if there are any approvals, then you should be able to see them in this approvals tab. Then the finance overview will be able to show you the total budget, how much has been spent, and how much is remaining. At the report section, you should be able to generate report in a single click. Choose the project that you want. If you want a monthly report, an annual or a quarterly report, and you get to select which parts you want to be included in your report. So maybe some of these are not useful, and generating report is literally in a single click. So once you click this, you should be able to get your report. I think I've selected the project. As you can see, it's taken less than a minute to generate that PDF report. Because there are no content, then the PDF report will be empty. We also have cloud storage, so which means that every file that you upload on the system, whether it's a receipt, whether it's an activity report, whether it's a file, will be available to you in the cloud storage. So there's no need for you to go and file all the documentation on Google Drive or on a separate cloud. This will help especially your teams to access files at any given time. The files will also be categorized so that you know which ones are evidence files, that's from the activities, which ones are receipts. You will also be able to select per project or per category as well. So in summary, that is what the Field2Donor platform looks like. Again, just to remind you that even when you're in the field and you have no access to the internet, you can still log in your data, you can still access your dashboard. And once you get to the internet, you will click here, sync, for offline. So if there's any data that had not been uploaded, it will then reflect, which means that if you implement an activity today, or if you make an expense today, the moment you key in that data, as soon as you're in the internet, anyone from your team or your management can be able to see the progress of the project. So that's it. Let me know what you think of the platform. You can add as many projects as possible. You can add projects of different currencies. So if you had a USD budget, you'd be able to still see it here. So your balances will show per currency, not total organization. Thank you very much, and I hope you get to share with us your feedback soon.